Hello and welcome back to Greenhill Junction. This video I'm going to move on with the programming functions of the Z21 and I'm going to show you what a difference changing the CVs can make on locos, particularly the acceleration and the deceleration, and I'm also going to attempt to change the volume because the chips are quite loud. Apparently the factory setting is 4 out of 8, but in a small bedroom here, I mean my layout's what, 13 a bit foot by 8 and a bit foot. There's not a lot of noise in this house. One chip is loud, 2 chips is very loud, to the point the wife's sort of moaned about it. So I'm going to look at trying to turn down the volume too, but that'll be later on. But the major ones are acceleration and deceleration. And John at Piccadilly did a really good video on CVs a wee while ago that I watched, and at the time I had the Elite, I didn't have sound, and I thought, you know what, I can totally see why you do it. It makes the running smoother, it makes it more realistic if that's what you're going for, particularly when you've got sound. But at the time I was like, I'm just running my trains round and round, doesn't really matter to me. And then lo and behold, I go and get the Z21 and I decide to put in sound, and I suddenly think, yeah, I can totally see why you do that. Now John's video is a brilliant guide. He does it with a DMU or an EMU, one of the two. And he does make suggestions for steam locos, which I actually took on board, and with the two in front of you here, so I've got Woodcock and Samara Wilson lined up. So Samara Wilson, the black one, that's got TTS with the factory settings, and Woodcock, the green one, that's got TTS with my settings. So I've changed the CVs to what I think works best with that loco. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a race. Am I allowed to say Top Gear Challenge on YouTube? Well, I guess I'll find out when I post this video. So if I very carefully pick up the tripod and go over to the locos, I'll just zoom back out. This is not that easy when the legs are sticking out. Right, okay, so you'll see I've got them lined up side by side. They're identical locos, they're the same sort of model. So they've been brought out by Hornby at the same time, same engine in them, they weigh the same, there's minor differences in the tender, but apart from that they're identical. I've given them both 3 identical carriages, and I think we can agree that they're both on a identical straight on the flat as well. So it's a fair race, shall we say. So I'm going to set them off without sound, because I don't want a cacophony of sound just now anyway. And I'm going to set the two of them off at a simulated 50 miles an hour. Now, bear with me with the tripod, new tripod, still getting used to it. Right, I'll zoom all the way out. Right, so there's the Z21 in front of you, and I've got the two locos lined up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set them both off at the same time, and then I'll zoom in and you'll see the difference between the two. So black is factory settings and green is my settings. So excuse me if my arm gets in the way, but I need to reach around the camera. Right, so I've got Samara Wilson taken off, and Woodcock's coming up to speed. I'll get these legs out the way, tripod legs that is. So Samara Wilson's the way around there, and Woodcock's still building up speed. And on the Z21, Woodcock on the left is set at 57 miles an hour, and Samara Wilson on the right is set at 55. So it's close enough for what my fingers can manage. There you go. So Samara Wilson has a significant lead on Woodcock, But I think we could say that the two of them are travelling at similar speeds now, so that's woodcock built up to its, well, simulated speed of 55 miles an hour. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also stop them and show you the difference in the deceleration. So when they come round into the station, I'll try and stop them at the same point, and you'll see which one stops sooner. So we'll try woodcock. Right, I've just pressed it there early, and woodcock comes to a halt very gradually, and that's pretty nice in what will be the station. So, sorry, my fingers do not work touch screens that well, so I need to wait for Samara Wilson to come back round. Talk amongst yourselves. Nothing like experiments going slightly awry. Try the same with Samara Wilson. So stop, press woodcock about there. I mean, you heard how much quicker that slowed down, and then that's it came to a halt. Look at the difference, basically 2 foot. Alright, and that is because I have programmed woodcock via the acceleration CVs to reach its top speed, or the speed I want it to go at, slower, and also to decelerate down to a halt slower as well. So, you know, for more realistic, because think if you're on a train, you don't want the train to go, you know, shooting off at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you're pinned to the seat, and then when it comes into the station and brakes, you're thrown forward. So that's really what we're trying to do. So what I'll do next is I'll set each of them off with sound running, and you'll see how the sound, in my eyes, certainly matches up better with woodcock's movements than it does with Samara Wilson. So let me just get that set up. Right, we're back at the start line, got them lined up again. So this time I'm going to send them off individually with sound, and you'll see how in in Samara Wilson, I believe the sound does not match the movement of the train, both in accelerating and decelerating. So what we'll do is we'll set it off. I'll get it up to speed, probably once it's over the bridge and round the corner at the junction, I'll stop it, and you can see the difference between the two. So again, set it off at 50 mile an hour, and we'll see what happens. So put the sound on. Right, that is 50 miles an hour bang on. So it gets to top chuffing really quick. You know what, I'll just stop it there. That's it stopped. Switch the sound off. So you can see how it basically rocketed out the station, and was chuffing really quickly within a couple of seconds of heading off, which isn't very realistic. I don't like saying realistic. I'm not wanting to be realistic, but the sound doesn't match the movement of the train. You know, you wouldn't expect a steam train to be, going full pelt out of a station like that. I suppose it is realistic what I'm going for. Anyway, getting confused. So what we'll do is we'll do exactly the same with woodcock, and you'll see the difference in how I think what I've set the CVs to in woodcock, the movement and the sound match each other better. So I'll put the sound on and set it off at 50 miles an hour. And then I'll just bring it to a halt again. and that's it stopped. Switch off the sound. So you've seen that when Woodcock went out the station there, it was a much more gradual build up in chuffing that went with the much more gradual build up in speed. Granted, you can hear it when it's almost going from like slow chuffing to slightly faster chuffing to slightly faster chuffing to fast chuffing to really fast chuffing. There's a tiny little gap in the sound. So I'll need to look a wee bit more into that and see if there's something I can do to change that. But on the whole, that was much smoother acceleration and much smoother sound that matched the acceleration. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to go to the programming track, and I will put Woodcock on the programming track. I will show you what CVs I've changed, how to change them, and the value that I've changed it to. And everything should become a little bit clearer. So yeah, let's get on the programming track with the Z21 in front of us. Right, so here we are on the programming track with Woodcock and the Z21 controller in front of us. Now this differs from John's video because he was able to do CVs 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 according to my notes that I took from his video. Must have a different decoder from me because I'm only able to edit 3 and 4 for acceleration and deceleration. So I guess it changes from decoder to decoder. That's only a guess. Let's say I've got the Hornby TTS, it's the only one I've ever done this with, so that's my only experience. So anyway, so I'll show you how to get into those CVs and what I have changed them to. So what you have to go into is bottom left again, CV programming, manual, program track, and you've got the same screen that you saw when I programmed in a new chip on the previous video. So what you want to do this time is you want to change the CV address. You want to change it to CV3, and it tells you what the CV is. To be honest, the Z21 really makes it quite straightforward. So it says acceleration time. The higher the value, the more time the loco takes to accelerate. So the factory setting is 15 for the Hornby TTS, and if we just read the CV, I've got it set to 65. As you'll see there. Now John in his video said 50, so I started off at 50. Again, you know, he was doing it for an electric or a diesel train, but he did suggest 50 for a steam engine. I thought that was a wee bit fast, so I actually put it up to 75. That was a wee bit slow, so I just gradually worked down and got to 65. So my acceleration time is set to 65, which gives the much slower acceleration that you've seen on Woodcock as it pulls out the station. Now for the deceleration, it's CV4. So again, all you need to do is click that up to 4, read CV, and I've got that set at 40. Again, the factory settings for that are 15. And in fact, I'm just checking my notes again, I believe 40 is what John had his set at as well. So that's what you've seen with the really slow deceleration. And the beauty of that is what you can do is, right, I'll just show you. So say if we go to play, obviously this isn't going to move because it's not on the track, so there's Woodcock. So say you've got it up like that at 50 mile an hour, and it actually is moving. Just take that off the track, and then you want to stop it. So you can press the emergency stop button, and it won't stop dead. It'll slow down as you saw it slow down. Then that gives you time to go in and like press the brake just as it's braking. So it gives you a wee bit more time to play with the sounds, I guess. Right, so what I'll do is we'll switch Woodcock over for Samara Wilson, and we'll program the CVs for Samara Wilson, put it back on the track, and show you the difference in how it's run. So, back in a bit. Right, that's Samara Wilson on on the programming track now. So I'll go through the process straight from the beginning again. So CV programming, it's already in manual, but in case it isn't, press manual, program track. So first thing we'll do is the acceleration, so it's CV3 up to 3 and read CV. And it's came up 15. Right, I'll zoom in on this because the loco's not going to do anything because it's on the programming track. So as you can see, that chip's factory setting, so it's at 15. So change that, just click on it, delete it, put in 65 and then set CV. And that's it, that wee click, number's changed. Read it again just to make sure. My fingers on touch screens, honestly. There you go, so it's at 65. So easy as that to set the acceleration. Deceleration is CV4, and it actually says braking deceleration. Well, that's what deceleration is really. And it says a higher value, the more time the locomotive takes to brake. So if we read that one, we get 15, which is the factory standard, and I want to change that to 40. So again, just select it, delete, 40, set CV. Seconds. Literally takes seconds. Read it again to make sure. There you go, 40. And that's that. Now, I said earlier that I was wanting to change the sound or the volume even and turn the volume down. Apparently that needs to be done on the main track, which I'm a smidge nervous about. So we'll put it on the main track and hopefully not blow everyone up. So next video could be amusing, but that's how easy it is to change CVs. You literally have it on a programmer track and you go into the app on your tablet or your phone and just read the CVs and change the value to what you want. These are my values. I'm not saying they're the right values, they're the values that I think suit the locos. Play about with them, set it to what you want, to be honest. It's entirely up to you, it's your layout. I'm just showing you what I've done as a guide, just like John at Piccadilly did, and it's his guide that I've picked up on and I've modified it for what I like on my layout. Okay, before I mess about with the volume, might as well see how this runs with the changed CVs for acceleration and deceleration, just in case I need to adjust them. I don't see how I would, but you never know. So we'll set it off with the sound and see how I like it basically. So let's switch the sound on. And I'll set it off at the simulated 50 miles an hour again. I think you'll agree that that was a much smoother acceleration in relation to the sound. So what I'll do is we'll just have it round one lap, and just as it comes past Woodcock I'll press stop, and we'll see how it slows down. So it's coming round now. That's me press stop. I'm putting a wee brake just for effect. I'll turn off the sound. So I'm quite happy with that. It seems to have identical performance to Woodcock now. with regards to acceleration and deceleration, and I think the sound now matches up very well with the movement. So let's move on to how to do the volume. So back in a bit. Right, let's give the volume a go. So all the sounds are stored in CVs 160 to 178, and they're all factory set to 4 out of 8. Now there is a CV 178 is a shortcut quick set volume level, and according to the instructions it's pretty much the master volume, so if I set that to something it should set all the other sounds to a relative volume to match that. So aye, let's give it a go. It does say it has to be done on the main track, hence the reason Samara Wilson's sitting up on the upper level there, and it's not a readable CV, so I can't read the value, I just have to reset the value and hope for the best. Oh boy. Right, so what we'll do is we'll switch the sound on for Samara Wilson and then come out of that. So it's back into CV programming. Again, it's manual, and I know it says POM up there, but I'd rather do it via the manual. So program on main, which is programming on the main track. Right, so we need to select the loco address first, which is loco 20. So Samara's set at. CV address is CV 178, and it doesn't give me a description for the CV there. I don't know why. Right, I'm going to try and read this, but I think it will tell me it's not able to. No, so it says could not read CV value for selected loco address or CV address. So right, so according to the instructions it should be set at 4, so I'm going to set it to half that, to 2. Now when I press set CV and it's programmed, we should hear a reduction in volume. So I'm not going to say anything, I'm going to press the button and we'll see what happens. Well, there you go, hopefully the camera picked that up, but that was evident to my ears that the volume level has dropped. So let's play about a bit, let's put that right up to top, which is 8. And we should hear a marked increase. There you go. Doesn't sound that great at that volume. So great, it really is that easy to do the volume. So there you go. If it's too loud, if you get narked at by someone in your house about the volume, you can turn the volume down. So let's just give it a go and see what it's like when it moves. In fact, let's try a chime. Okay, let's drive. Okay, to me that is a much lower volume. Well, I think what I'll do actually is I will bring the two A4s up together and we'll double check that chime and see if there is a volume difference between the two. Right, here we go. So the two of them side by side. So Samara in the black has its volume turned down to 2. Woodcock in the green has its volume at 4. So okay, let's just try the chimes one at a time. So we'll do Samara for first for the lower sound. And then Woodcock. There you go, that is noticeably louder on woodcock. So by changing CV178, it brings all the sounds down to a value that relates to what you've put in. So I switched it down to 2, so the CV has then brought every other CV down to 2 as well. So just try it with something else. Let's try the brake on some other. And then woodcock. It just mirrors, are not much of a difference there. Now what there was, it's just so high pitched, it kind of goes through you anyway. Yeah, so successful. So what we've done today is I have shown you the difference between the acceleration, deceleration of a stock TTS chip and one that's had CVs modified, how it can make a difference to your running, particularly in relation to the sound. And the speed relationship, shall we call it. I've shown you how to change the CVs using the Z21, and finally also how to turn down the volume should be too loud. Or maybe you know, if you're on an exhibition layout and you've got a massive hall and a lot of noise to compete with, you'll maybe want to turn the volume up. So there you go, it's as easy as that with the Z21 and Hornby TTS. I would presume that it's along the same lines with other chips as well. After all, a chip's a chip, it's got CVs and you go in and change values. So I don't see how it would be much more complicated with other chips. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. I've certainly, had some quite good fun with this. I want to thank John for Piccadilly for definitely educating me on what to do and how to do it, and then I've taken his instructions, his teaching. He is a teacher after all, apparently. Not apparently, he says he's a teacher, that was the wrong phrase. And then I've adapted it for what I want for my layout. So aye, have a go, see what you think, leave me any comments you've got, and subscribe and keep up to date with the layout. Alright, thanks very much, speak to you again soon, cheers.